course, I could have had the desire to teach how to do some demonic thing, but generally I had a good impression of teachers. They were teaching us good things. So somehow or other, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, know that there's nothing in this world beyond the three modes. Nishtraigunya Bhavarjana. But Arjuna, you rise above them. Significant thing is that that instruction is for everyone. We are conducted by the modes. Maybe mode of goodness, but in Kali Yuga, at present time, it's practically impossible to find anyone purely in the mode of goodness. They're mixed with Rajas and Tamas. So, yesterday we celebrated Acharya Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. He created a wonderful institution. All kinds of people joined. Of course, they all they externally were chanting and dressed as devotees, Kuntimala and Tilak. But eventually we learned about this important subject, that we're governed by the modes. Well, actually, Vaishnava, when you say Vaishnava, you mean pure Vaishnava, pure devotee. What is a pure devotee? Anyavilasita shunyam, no material desire. That means practically he's above the modes. So that's very difficult, very rare. So otherwise, the sadhakas, the practitioners, due to presence of influence of the lower modes, there's friction. Passion means you have your strong desire and somebody else has theirs, and there is no harmony possible. So there's friction, and we see there has been so much schism in the society that Prabhupada created. At first he was one, I've said many times, I was like one family. If you had to go to another city, you went to the temple, they didn't know who you are, what your name is, but as soon as they saw you in this dress, Prabhu, come in, come for prasadam. There was no question which party you belong to or what your, they didn't do a swab test to see if you have some anti-local temple president DNA in you or something. Now that's the case. I think. So now I'm old, and for some reason I'm not going to temples. I can't go by. I used to travel by bus, or from here I used to go from Amaguda station to Secunderabad station. 3 rupees, 2 rupees, something, and there I could go anywhere. Not doing that, not able to do that anymore. So, so this is unfortunate. I'm happy to be able to try to make you understand the situation. It would be nice if this understanding was widespread so that we can return to the old way. But unfortunately, many of those who experienced the original way, they're now no longer, they're no more. They're old, and they're one by one they're passing away. So what to do? So you please try to understand the situation and try to prepare yourself to that when you meet members of different camps, different groups, that you try to be an instrument of reconciliation. Definitely don't be an instrument of further division. If we have sometimes, it's so easy because of the pushings, the Vegas, the urge to speak, we have to say something, some critical comment that causes further schism. So if we have done in past, we can also think of trying to rectify by apologies, some apologetic words, by bringing gifts, by giving prasadam to some devotees, some member of some other division, artificial, completely unnecessary artificial division, but that's this unfortunate situation. There are, we can bring some prasadam, we can, what are the different ways of, we can reveal our mind. There's one verse in Sri, in Nectar of Instruction, is it? About the different ways of devotees interacting. What is this? Can somebody get some plain water? Let's taste this. And we should we should know that whatever is going on in the external world, we should hardly expect any good to come. Hardly expect any good guidance or enlightenment. A few days ago, how many of you don't know that an Indian, some person with an Indian body, born in India or from Indian parents, has become the Prime Minister of UK? You know, everybody knows that? Huh? No? You didn't know? Yeah, you know. Did you know? His name is Rishi Sunak. He is now Prime Minister of UK. You know that? So I've heard that many people are very happy. What is the basis of that happiness? Does being Indian mean that you are a sadhu, that you're a saint? No, there are so many gundas, Indian gundas. You know, Telangana state, member of the legislature, 40% are gundas. They have at least criminal records, maybe only murderers, but so why should we expect that just because somebody is Indian, because that's nice sentiment, you're thinking Indian means like, no, it's not. It's a false sentiment. It's based on bodily identification. Based on sense gratification. In Indian, oh, so maybe sometimes I'll have samosas with him, or we'll have, you know. But actually, who is he? If you hear, how do you become Prime Minister of UK? Not by qualification, by or you Prime Minister. How does somebody become a leader in the material world? Not based on having sattvic qualities. They don't elect somebody because he's very honest. No, they elect him because they think he's honest and he's making promises. But it is said that common statement that politicians, as soon as they open their mouth, you know that it's a lie. You know, if I'm elected, I'll lower taxes, I'll do so many things. Does it ever happen? No. So, and how is he elected? I mean, I've spoken about it before, how the world is so corrupt, how even in the last century, some of you were not born yet, but I was born in the middle of it, or even a little before. So how many wars have there been? How many crores of people have died? Like demonic wars and genocide. You know? 1 crore is 100 million? 10 million?
Easy.
Huh?
Easy, bro.
100 million. 1 crore people were killed by in wars and in genocide in the last century. Okay? So how did that happen? You learned in school, I asked many people, the young students age, what do you know about World War II? Or what was the cause? But they don't know. But they've heard of Mr. Hitler. They heard his name. He's responsible for big genocide. How did he get elected? He was democratically elected. Democracy. Yeah? People voted for him. How is that? The German people very intelligent. There's a Blowpunkt. Your car has a Blowpunkt audio system, and I have purchased a Blowpunkt music player. And they're known for making the best tools, and they're very intelligent. How did they elect this person? Because he was financed heavily by powerful bankers. Which bankers? Not German. I don't want to, there's too many details, there's, this distraction. But he was financed by demons on the opposite camp who fought with Germany eventually. He was elected, and then he fought with the countries whose banks financed him. So is that an accident? No, it's not possible to be an accident. It's intentional. Point is, how does one become a leader in the material world? Not on the basis of good qualities, spiritual qualities. In Bhagavad Gita we see the qualities of a leader, kshatriya. What? Virya, courage in battle, charitable, fearlessness. If they're at war, the present leaders, they stay in their bunkers, somewhere 50, 100 feet underground with air conditioning, and they have a monitor showing what is going on in the other side of the world. The missiles are flying, and the statistics of how many missiles were fired and how much damage done. No, Kshatriya is in front. In olden days, battle meant with horses and elephants. They were riding in front, leading. Has anybody heard in modern times any such leader? No. No. So, how does one become a leader in the material world? It's all manipulation. Established, powerful people with demonic natures, they simply manipulate. How did Barack Obama become president of the USA? He's a black man. He's supposed to be a black man. How can a black man? Simply some powerful people selected. Look, this person, I think we put him. They put him in. So how did Mr. Sanak become prime minister? They put him in because he had some, he's like one of their club. I don't know, I didn't read so much. I read a few paragraphs from a very knowledgeable person. He's a graduate of in UK they're called public school, but actually they're private. That's crazy. The private schools are called public schools. And what are the public schools called? I don't know. Anybody? So private school like Eton and these very, you have to be very wealthy to, the fees are astronomical. So he's a graduate of private school, or public school, and then he got into Oxford. I think 90% of the intake from Oxford is from small percent of the private schools or public schools, not according to population, and what does it mean to be in these schools? It means you're associating with others whose fathers they're the manipulators of society. So I don't know who his parents are, but he was in that circle of manipulators. So he was fully qualified to be accepted into that high circle that the Prime Minister is a member of. So for some reason they put him in, because they elected one woman and she lasted as Prime Minister for 45 days. I don't know what happened. She said something that irritated her party members. She had to get out. So, who are the wealthy people, the inner circle of of UK society. They're not, what is their attitude to India? What do they know of Vedic culture? He's an investment banker. What do they know about Vedic culture? The bankers, they simply want to profit. No question of truth and justice and serving the people. They're there to profit. The present conflict, Ukraine, what is the basis of that? The United States has supplied $50 billion worth of arms to Ukraine. That's very good for those who have investment in the arms industry. That's America's #1 industry. #1 industry is making rockets and submarines and #1 industry. And #2, pharmaceuticals, drug industry. Why? There's no need of industry. A human being doesn't need big factories to live. You need good food, and clean air and water. But these industries, they pollute the air and they pollute the water. So that's they're very happy, because then you get cancer by drinking the water full of industrial chemicals that are poisonous, and then they're very happy because then they produce some new medicine to cure you of that cancer. So it's like it's all for their profit. It's all demonic. This is Kali Yuga, we should understand. So it's nice to come and take part in, of course, above everything in our Krishna consciousness society, above everything is chanting. Because by chanting, even the demons can be, they have hearts somewhere, they can be melted. But we should understand, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, or Prabhupada comments, Acharya, he is speaking only what Krishna has spoken, that knowledge, does anybody know the verse? Knowledge means material and spiritual. Okay? So we should know I'm not the body, and we should know devotional service, but also maybe it's not absolutely necessary if we are so much pure and simply chant and serve, then we can be liberated, not take birth again. But generally, it is necessary to have knowledge that includes material knowledge. Maybe I have a little bit imbalanced. I know spiritual principles, but I know, I think, more material details, like which bank financed Mr. Hitler. How many people know that? But it's practical, you see. Somehow or other, I can fix anything. you know. I just fixed this microphone. You know, this thing was unscrewed. I didn't know it. I thought it was maybe broken, but it screwed in.
Yes, sir.
Hmm? And I polish these. These are very good bell metal, but Pitambari had almost no effect. So I took them in there, and I have an attachment, a little metal brush, and it goes in the electric drill, and polish them good. So, but knowledge, is psychology a material science or a spiritual science? The material. But Prabhupada says that it is the highest science, you know. And we can even use it to, when reading Krishna book, we see the dealings of the gopis with Krishna. That is psychological. We can apply psychological perspective. See? But that is on the transit. That is all pure. It's not psychopathology. In material world, psychologists are like doctors. They work. They have clinics. And you go to see a psychologist, a consultation. But knowledge of psychology is useful. When you go to distribute a book, you see by gestures the person he's going to he's going to listen to you. He's going to maybe take the book, or he's going to punch you in the nose. You see, so it's useful science. You have to know. Book distributors, at least. So, does anybody have any questions or comments? I meant to have Bhagavad Gita and the verse about knowledge meaning both material and spiritual, but got busy with deepas and things. Pardon?
Chapter 7, text 5. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 5.
I meant to bring the Gita, and even my phone is there. Can you read the verse?
Aprayam mitasya anyam prakritim vidhi me param. Jiva bhutam mahabhav yedam dharyate jagat.
In translation?
Besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mind which are all living entities who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe.
It's hard for me to follow. Let me see. Bis. Aparayam itastu anyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabhaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Yes, I used to know this verse. Besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mind, which are all living entities who are struggling with material nature and are